Hey guys, we're back!
Yo, Jack, where are you, dog?
Dude, I am in my basement at my new location, literally for one episode, and then I go to the beach, and it's the last episode.
So, what beach are you going to, Mr. Jack Powell?
Ocean City. Go to Ocean City after I go to the finale event in New York on Wednesday.
And after you go to Outback Steakhouse, because Will West is now a server.
Well done. We
thank
should all give you praise for that. Liz is the owner of the basement. Very true. Welcome everyone. My headphones fell out.
Welcome back.
My
Sorry,
headphones fell out.
so Jack, what happened to last week? You had like a cold or something. You had like your like cousin's like 8th.
Yeah, I had my
party.
like my 11th cousin's half birthday party.
Nothing
that
important.
Nothing important. I did graduate. I'm a graduate from Virginia Tech. I'm now an alumni.
BL.
That's
Terrible.
all right. That's enough. We got a big Ashley graduated from Clown College. That's exactly right.
Clown College.
That's exactly right. Yes, I graduated from college last week. We could not find a replacement, so unfortunately, it was the first miss week in Stockwatch history, but it will certainly be the last.
Yep.
And boy, do we have an episode for you today, because not only do we have to cover episode 12, we also have to cover episode 11. And so you'll cheekily see that we also included Venus in these slides, even though she was eliminated last week. And so we got a lot to get to today.
Yeah. 100%. So let's start with the basics. What did you think about the last 2 episodes? Did you like it? Did you not?
I think it's so funny that the record was broken once and then broken again for most players voted out with an idol in their pocket. It was insane to see. I was watching it on Wednesday with my parents, the last episode 12, and it was utterly hilarious to watch, especially since they did something that they usually don't do, reveal all the votes beforehand, so we know exactly what the outcome is. And oh my goodness. And Jay, speaking of this, I have a question. Should I wear my Q skirt A to the finale and B right now? Because I do have a sweatshirt on, as you can see, Survivor Stockwatch.
Yeah. And see when we do the live Survivor Now podcast where we go over Survivor Thailand in person, where me and you will discuss the stocks for that. You should also wear that. Grab the Q skirt, man. So I can also, while you do that, I can talk about the episode, my opinions, and what.
Yeah. All right. You go ahead and talk. I'm gonna change real quick.
Yeah, no. So we know the record was broken. Now the previous record was in Island of the Idols, which is why no one ever talks about it, because no one talks about Island of the Idols. But no, I personally really, really appreciated the last 2 episodes. I think the season did kind of die this episode. I hate to say it. It's kind of like when Emily got voted out last season, and it's like a big, hey, you got the Q skirt.
You like the Q skirt. Here it is.
Here
it is. And I'm also wearing Virginia Tech under, in the college I happen to just graduate from.
College schmollage.
Chris was annoyed at the Q skirt segment, though.
Oh, yeah. So, but I do have a question, Mr. Jack Powell. Remember last season?
I do.
I'm glad you do. So when Emily got voted out, I kind of said it was like the death of the season, where like one of the bigger players, one of the bigger characters got voted out, and it made the rest of the season kind of more predictable, because then we all just kind of knew Dee was the winner once we figured out that Emily had the growth edit. Do you think that's kind of the case now that Q is gone?
I don't think it's the death of the season. I think that in order for there to be a true death of the season type of moment, the winner's crowned, it's over, it needs to happen as late as Final Seven and any earlier than that. I think
Okay.
Final Six, if you say the season would die at Final Six, there's only one episode after, and not only that, but a lot of people still believe that Charlie could win Survivor 46. We don't. We'll say it, we don't, but
Yeah.
people still think it, and so there are still, as Chris says here, a couple of contenders left. There's 2 contenders left for Will and I, even though one is head and shoulders above the other. So I say we waste no time. We get into it. We got all the people to cover, and we also have to cover our thoughts on the season, returnees, especially since that's happening now. So here we go.
Oh yeah.
We got the rule book. Reminder, anybody new, anybody old, here's the rule book. And we begin. So we go to Venus. I put the Connect 4 image up there because, again, 4 people idled out. Next time, you shouldn't even look for idols because you're not going to play them. Like, nobody should look for idols. If you ever go on Survivor, just don't look for them. Just don't look for them.
Liz was kind of a visionary with that repeatedly throughout the season.
Liz was quite smart in a roundabout way, not looking for the idols.
Oh, yeah. I am a little sad to see Venus gone. I thought she was a huge lightning rod for drama. There was a world where I kind of saw her as potentially being a losing finalist, being someone kind of delusional, thinking, kind of like Derek from Big Brother 23,
What? No way.
Kind of the callback, Venus being like, I've made all these moves. But no, sadly, she kind of just got shafted later on in the season. The edit is kind of getting more and more imbalanced, as we'll get to with another person. But do you think Venus will return in the future?
That's the thing. I agree with you. I think Venus was absolutely lightning rod, and I think the thing that sent her home was easily this. I mean, telling Charlie you have something brewing without telling him what it is. I think if Venus tells Charlie that she is the idol, Charlie wants to work with Venus. I think that Venus actually stays in the game, but Venus showed exactly why her social game was so panned and was so atrocious and so just completely out of left field for a lot of people, because the way she approached Charlie made it seem like she has something, and it's almost like a veiled threat you're throwing up Charlie. And yes, same with this, Jay. I don't know if she'll return because of the NDAs. I would like to see it. I think it's a lot less likely for Venus to return. I would like to see it, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit less likely than a couple of other people. I want to say like 2 to 3 people this season I feel like are really good shots at coming back. I think Venus has a decent chance. I don't think she is the best chance. I mean, we all know who has the number 1 best chance.
Yeah. You want to get to him now?
Yeah, let's do it. C150, bud. And that's actually a picture of him advertising something on the Dead Meat podcast. By the way, I love Dead Meat. Great channel.
Yeah.
Extra plug. We got it right. We forgot to say this with Venus, and we'll do this as a little bit of a hybrid here. We got Venus right at 7. Our ticket for getting it right is if we got it in the last episode and we get it this and in the episode they're eliminated, we win. We got it right. Q was eliminated at 6. We thought Venus would go first. Kind of an interesting way to get there, but we got it right. For all the shit we give ourselves for saying that Jem was number 1. Yes.
Mariah number 1.
Yes. Mariah like top 4
entire season.
Maria being a top contender too, like that's something, especially if Maria loses, is something we have to keep in mind. For all the shit we gave ourselves earlier in the season for being dead wrong, We got it right. We got it right. We've been hitting our stride the past couple episodes.
It just took the entire season to go where there being 1 or 2 contenders for us to really know what's going on.
Absolutely, we cooked. Q for a very losing finalist. Yeah, so I mean, Q's game was very, very involved, and I think that he completely tanked this game when he said he was going to quit at Tribal Council. But I've seen reports that he actually had a decent shot to win if he went to the end, especially because he's been surviving so long as a target.
Yeah, so I feel like this cast was the perfect storm for a player like Q. Had he survived, had he continued on, and had we did a podcast last week, I don't think I would have given it any credence, but I would have had my crackpot theories. You know, and you play the thing. Ooh, because I feel like a lot of the conversation, through the mid-late portion of the season was, could Q win? Like it was something so crazy, something so insane that it just might have worked. And I think if Q is at the final 3 with like Ben and Liz, I'm just saying, like it maybe, or
I think anybody that sits to the end with Ben and Liz wins. But continue.
You think he could even beat Maria after last?
I don't know. That's the thing. We don't see Maria as a contender to win. I mean, we ruled her out a little bit ago, but if she were to make the end, I think she's actually the number 1 contender to win over anybody, including our number 1. And I think Maria easily beats Q because, in a way, Maria saved Q. Like, Maria had Q's number. So,
yeah. I also just take into account, like, just the bitterness online with how much this cast just did not mesh with each other. But I'm excited to see Q back on our screens for Survivor 50. I think that's going to be enough time too for Q to like get off the island, decompress, and then come back full swinging.
Do you think it's gonna be he's gonna really try and crack down and play smart game, or do you think he's gonna do a little bit of Tony Game Changers-esque kind of gameplay? Pulling out the Q skirt as one can see,
one does,
right here, as one does right there. The Q skirt, or is he gonna? I mean, what is he going to do? And Amy with a great point here. He was going to take Maria out on Final 4 in the Fire Challenge, him versus her. Yeah, that's a great move. I mean, if Q makes it to that Final 4 with Maria, let's say it's him, Maria, Ben, and Liz. He wins immunity. Now, again, he's never won immunity, and he was on the Disaster Tribe. That is Yanu, despite being an athlete. He played college football, a D1 as well. Taking out Maria in the Fire Challenge and winning immunity. That's a good move. That's a potential game-winning move for Q for sure. And speaking of fire, I wonder who will win a fire making between Jack and Will. You want to find out, Will?
Absolutely. That'd be crazy. I think you'd win, but I have practiced before.
I've not. I've never practiced.
Okay, never mind. I really, you've never practiced your
I've never practiced. Not yet.
Dude, Flint costs like $10 on Amazon.
Yeah, I know. I had a Flint, but I lost it. I'm like Keith Nail. Or who is it, Drew? Whoever lost the Flint on that season.
James, we need a new Flint. They did find the Flint though, but Q. I love Q. Q made the season. Early on, I was not a big fan of Survivor 46. It felt kind of mean spirited, but not in a way where it was like over the top. The second Q hit that merge beach, I don't know what happened to him. He just blew up his own game, blew up everyone's games, kind of tanked Tiffany's game. But you know what? I'm here for it.
Honestly, I mean, we could start to go into our thoughts on the season here, but I really think that it's after Banu's elimination that everything clears up. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
saying Banu was the only thing holding it back. I think there was, focus issues. I think there was a lack of a real, like, exciting gameplay, so to speak. The second Banu goes, I mean, the Gem episode is right after. Then you got Merge. Then you got Q blowing up. Then you have people leaving with idols in their pockets, starting with Hunter and going all the way to Q. Maria could go home at 5 next episode with an idol in her pocket. Like, it's so strange. It went from, I want to say, maybe like a 4 to a 5 out of 10 to like an 8.
Oh yeah.
Like, it really, really changed up. What is your opinion of that? Because a lot of people, let's talk about like Karamoa, right? Fans versus favorites too. The pre-jury is hated. Everybody hates the pre-jury. The post-jury is quite lauded, and a lot of people actually really enjoy that post-jury, however boring the end result actually was. I mean, barring that, how much weight do you put on a good pre-jury versus a good post-jury? Because it's been a pretty good post-jury, just in a different kind of way.
Yeah, I it's always like how you finish, not how you start, right? We can go past Karamoa. We could talk about seasons like Vanuatu, which I feel like as of late, kind of a lot of super fans have been labeling it as very underrated, right? Because once you get past that pre-merge, you get a really good stretch of episodes, and I think that's what we're getting right now, especially after Banu, especially getting that Gem blindside that no one saw coming until the episode happened. We have the whole Nami blow up kerfuffle. I think this was a really solid season. I don't know. I still want to wait until the very end to say how much I appreciate it, because we could get like a Liz win at the final 3, and then the season will suck again.
Oh God, it could be crazy. It could be crazy.
I do think there hasn't been a single New Era season that has been like flawless front to back.
100%.
And so, is this the closest we're getting with just the first 3 episodes not being favorable, or is there more? I'm not sure yet.
There are, yeah. Let's get to a couple comments here. Best season in New Era so far. So now we're in the era. 90 minutes has been confirmed for 47, and so now we're officially in the era of 90 minutes. Like it's gonna. I hope it's a thing going forward. I hope it continues to stay. Everyone does. Do we put 45 in such good graces purely because of the 90 minutes and how that blessed it? When we now have a season like this, I hesitate to say. I think it's tough for me because I think 90 minutes changes these seasons and move them up immediately to being, to being one of the better seasons. At the same time, you put 90 minutes in all of the other New Era seasons, put it in every season.
Yep.
And all the rankings change. Like, no matter what, every single ranking changes.
Winners that were a top 5 season.
Yes, exactly. My opinion is, right now I can't put 46 as the best, but I can put it at number 3. Behind 45 and 42.
I might put it at 4. I still think 44, or I put it at 3. I think 44 still might be one of my favorites. I think 45, I don't think it's a great season because it's 90 minutes. I do think it helps, but I do think the storyline, I think a lot of the character development is peak with 45, right? I think that's the one thing US Survivor does really well, is editing characters in a way where you can really, put emphasis on emotional beats, right? Think of Jake, right? I think Jake is one of the best edited characters Survivor has. And I'm kind of sad that we're not really getting that this season, right? Outside of like Maria crying at the loved one's visit, or Liz and Ben just breaking down. I think Ben might be the best example so far. And I think 44, I think is the most storybook like season of Survivor where it feels like a narrative. It doesn't really feel like a experiment. It doesn't feel like Survivor. It feels like a story front to back. And I really like that because I really like the Tika 3, but I also know that's a little controversial.
Yeah. Some more comments here. I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Benel. Why did Q think Kenzie and Liz would be open to working with him? I'm going to echo Jay's point a little bit after, because I believe this is correct. He thought everybody see Charlie as a bigger threat. Fair enough. I think that if it was Charlie and Q working together and they were going after Maria, there would be actually a little bit of potential there for Q to stay. But because it was Charlie, who always served as Maria's kind of number 2, that was, justified to us in the final 7. And spill the immunity, Q's cost stats are middle. 7 games, 8 tackles as a DB and 35 yards. All right, he got there.
Hey,
I as much as
big
100%, big mistake, first of all. Second of all, yeah. I mean, he still got there, though. And I think that getting there is hard in of itself. But yes, Chris with a comment here, personally, is his favorite because of the mean-spirited vibe. Yeah, I mean, it depends on your cup of tea, It feels like 44 was a lot of kumbaya, and so if you're really interested in that and really interested in tight, small alliances, great season for you. If you're interested in mean-spirited gameplay, wide-open gameplay, stuff like really high emotional gameplay like this,
oh yeah,
absolutely, this season for you. And Jay would put 46 at number 2 and 45 as number 1. Yeah, I think I move. Here's my biggest thing. If 90 minutes is a thing for 44, it's instantly number 1 for me. Because I think the story is there 100% for number 1, and I can see your point as it being your favorite will. If it gets 30 more minutes, we get to know a lot more about everybody else. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what that season needed. And if we had that, it would instantly be number 1. But unfortunately, we live in a world where that didn't happen. And so I have to take it as it is. And that's why I have 44 a lot lower than maybe some other people. But are we ready to move on to the final 5?
Oh, yeah, finally, 21 minutes into this podcast.
Well, let's rock. All right, Ben. The brother of Kenzie, according to Mental Floss, I looked up an article that said, "Are sisters better than brothers?" And the Mental Floss article says that yes, indeed, sisters are better than brothers. So you've been warned. Yes, Ben voted for Kenzie at the final 7, making a mistake. A lot of people may have assumed that it was going to be a an idol scare play, but it was a pure mistake, which doesn't honestly make a lot of sense from Ben's perspective. But we still have him at 3. We still think he's going to probably be the losing finalist. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel sad because I really, really wanted to live in the world where Ben was like the underrated strategist, where he, picks up steam later on, becomes much more sociable, and with the right jury combination, with all the stars aligned, Ben would be the winner, and we'd all rock on. So I put him off around like episode 9 or so, episode 8 or 9, 10. Episode 11 was really rough, and then episode 12 wasn't bad. It just reconfirmed that I think he's just a losing finalist because he's still getting that personal content, especially with Kenzie. I think that's just helping Kenzie out more in terms of the edit and just making Ben more relevant because he is a losing finalist. But Ben also has just been invisible for a lot of the episodes. Not much to really go off on, but I do feel bad for Ben because he was deteriorating out there.
Yeah, I feel bad for Ben as well. He has very relatable stories to a lot of people. I can see why he is a beloved figure. I like Ben. I think he's great, and I think he's a necessary part of this season. something a lot of people have been pointing out online, and I think this is a decent thing to talk about here, is they're really highlighting Ben and Kenzie's relationship. And so a lot of people are starting to think, because Charlie is still such a strong contender and still has a decent chance, either Ben wins the Final Four immunity and takes Kenzie to the end, or is it a tie for the final tribal and Ben votes for Kenzie to break the tie?
That
is indeed a crackpot theory.
Yeah, I'm scared to talk about final tribal council voting configurations back when I talked during 44 and how I wish it was a 3-3-2 with 3 votes Carolyn, 3 votes Jam Jam, and 2 votes Heidi. And I've never talked about the vote. And then last season, I think everyone was surprised when Austin got 3 votes and Jake got nothing.
Everyone was shocked. Yeah, I do remember that.
But maybe it's just insane enough. Maybe this will be the season.
Maybe we get it right. Maybe the crackpot comes to real pot or real crack. Yeah, I mean this surely could happen. I mean, we're really there has to be a payoff. We always say that if something is shown once and it isn't really talked about again, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of to the wayside. If something is shown to us again and again, it matters. And there's got to be some kind of payoff for it. We saw Ben and Kenzie's relationship earlier on, which Benel with a great point here, which we'll get to, and why we think Kenzie is absolutely going to win. Yeah, we saw this relationship earlier on, and we saw Kenzie helping Ben out, and we saw it again this episode. And so it's the 2-time effect. You see it again, it has to mean something, and there has to be a payoff for it. It's the thing happened with Tiffany this season. Finding the idol, we thought, oh, great, she's finding the idol. She mentions it at the merge-tory. Right before they go to the Old Nami Beach to merge, she mentions Idolicia. It's clearly important in the sense that she didn't play and she went home with him.
Yep.
But what is the payoff? I think it's probably more likely that Ben's just going to win Final Four immunity and take Kenzie or something like that. But I could see genuinely the tie-breaking vote at the final tribal council.
Oh, yeah. I also just equally see Ben just being the 3rd place losing finalist and Kenzie's relationship with Ben kind of being the showcase of just Kenzie's social game in general. Ben just being a good example because both of them end up at Final Tribal Council together. Who knows? Just because tie votes at Final Tribal Council is extremely rare. Only saw it one time, and not in the new era. But who knows?
Not in the new era. By the way, I'm so happy that Ben won the pizza reward. Yeah, we do love some pizza.
I love Ben, bro.
Yeah, Ben's cool. We move to Charlie. Game, set, match. Great episodes, but the damage is done. Yes, we believe that Charlie will firmly be the number 2 contender. Yep. Could potentially be 2nd place to Kenzie if he makes the end, or could get eliminated at Final 4, maybe, or Final 5. But Charlie has been a strong contender nonetheless this season. I think he remains a contender throughout the final episode. It's fair to say that realistically D was the only contender last season at the final 6.
Yep.
It's fair. I would not be mad at anyone that said Charlie was either a contender or the main contender going into the finale. I would not be mad at that. I would understand that argument. He's had a great set of episodes. He's been very strategic throughout. He's had great content. I think the one thing is, again, the lack of true personal content. Again, this is the moment, the love letter episode. He talks about his girlfriend for a little bit, but then it swings immediately to game, immediately to strategy and how he knows he has to take out Maria. And then that doesn't happen. And I think that's the key in the dagger. Real quick from Chris here. If Taylor Swift gives Charlie $1 million, regardless of whether he wins or not, Sia will forever be dethroned, unfortunately.
Yeah. Does Taylor Swift like Survivor?
I don't even know.
Does she know does she know who Jeff Probst is?
I don't even know.
I think she watches Stock Watch though. I heard somewhere.
Oh yeah, Taylor Swift definitely watches Stock Watch. Hi Taylor, good to see you. Yes, final 7 episode I think was the key into which we figured out that Charlie was 100% losing. Yep. It made it very clear throughout that episode that Charlie was playing second fiddle to Maria. And so far, we've seen no true indication that Charlie is 100% against Maria. We've seen Maria go against Charlie, though, with voting for him in this episode, episode 12. And so I think last episode, episode 11, was the key dagger that was needed to make sure that we knew Charlie would lose. So,
yeah, R.I.P. I do. Yeah, no, I do see the world. I do see why people have him as the contender, but I keep going back to the opening monologue, and at first I thought that was for Kenzie, but I feel like the whole you could do everything right but not win is more applicable to Charlie, right? He's playing this game extremely well. He's doing everything right. He's focused entirely on the game, and then he's not going to win. So, R.I.P.
Yes. A couple things here. Speaking of arguments from Spill the Immunity, good to see you. What is your opinion on how well they all will present the gameplay at the final Tribal Council? Yeah, I mean, let's say it's Kenzie, Charlie, Ben, right? That's what we're kind of thinking about here. Pontificating, some would say. I think that Charlie's very logical. Clearly, he's a top law student. You know, I think there's no reason that he doesn't have a good argument. At the same time, I think that Kenzie is a very clear communicator, and we've seen that in confessionals. We haven't seen that necessarily through their experience, but Kenzie's a great confessional giver. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's really solid at talking to the camera. And so I think she'll have no problem talking to the jury. Did Charlie know that Maria was coming for him or not? I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Yeah. I think there's a little bit of a back thought that maybe. But you know, Charlie, how many votes does Charlie get a final Tribal Council? I don't know. Because I mean, I definitely think Maria gives him a vote, right? Like Maria's on a final Tribal Council. I think he gets a vote from there.
Does he get like Venus?
No.
Venus was Kenzie. Yeah,
easily vote for Kenzie. I think I could see
maybe Hunter.
I could see maybe Hunter giving a vote to Charlie. I could see Charlie getting like 2, maybe 2 or 3 or 4. Could be that tie again.
Could be the tie.
Oh, all right. Hold on. Chris has got one here. Outside of the fact that he's aligned with Maria, aka Denise, I actually think Charlie's very similar to Malcolm that has short hair, so not really noted. So, okay.
We did get the callback too of the whole Denise and Denise and Malcolm, where he says, "Oh, I hope Malcolm can end up on top." So I think Charlie makes it farther than Maria. I also think that because of Maria just got shafted. Like, she got a pretty rough episode, especially episode 12. And so I think Charlie beats out Maria here. He just doesn't win the war. And I think that, I don't know. Obviously, we're not going to get the Denise and Malcolm callback every single episode because that's 2 on the nose, 2 whatever. But we did get it again. So it is still relevant, still important. But we also know how Denise and Malcolm ended up, you know?
We do. I think you're exactly right. I think that Charlie is going to outlast Maria, and I think that is the payoff for that specific moment in that episode. And the last thing from Jay before we move on, I thought it was someone like Q or Venus was going to be a 0-vote finalist, but it's probably for someone who plays a good game but doesn't win. Yeah, I think that opening monologue, a lot of people have been talking about it. It's certainly been in Will's minds of Will Weary West's mind.
the Weary, yeah.
Yeah, the Weary. I think we're right on the nose with that, Jay. I think that it's someone who plays a great game this season but does not win. And I think that's going to be true.
Yep.
But we move on to the person who we think is going to win, and I say lock because it's a lock. Penultimate episodes always tell us the winner. It's a little bit too late. It's a little bit of cheekiness being a little too late. But high key, she's the winner in this game. We've known it for a while. A lot of people assume she'd be the dragon. We thought she'd be the dragon as well earlier in the season, but it's become more and more clear that she's going to win. It's so readily apparent to us that, as I think Benel said, Benel said earlier today, that she just has a phenomenal social game, great jury management. The only time she ever received a vote so far was A, a mistake, and B, when everyone saw that she got a vote, everyone was like, what? No, that's no, please no. I think that she has played a fantastic game, especially with a couple things in mind. With Banu saying that Kenzie is someone that is super social, can easily make it to the end. We finally got the payoff with Q and Kenzie earlier in the season. Yep. Q saying that he wanted to target Kenzie because he thinks she could get far, and lo and behold, she did. And Q praising Kenzie at that split tribal council earlier in the merge. As a famous pre-juror, I forget their name, once said, mermaid, dragon. And I think dragon, everyone got hit on that. It's like, oh, she's got to lose right at the end. I think it's more of her actual game and her story.
Oh, yeah. Well, not just that, too, but going back to Benel's question of, like, how they'll phrase their game at Final Tribal Council. If it is Kenzie, Charlie, Ben, I think Ben will have a journey approach where he's gonna be like, I had a journey, very sociable, very personable, but just weak. Charlie's gonna be 100% strategy, 100% game. I think Kenzie could be the in between. Yeah. She has a really good story, especially being on the Yanu 3, especially being one of the only 2 sane Yanu 3 members, and being able to play under the radar. Play the game really hard, but also have the story, also have the game, also have the social grace. I do think she's a lock, personally.
Yeah, I do as well. I think you're absolutely right. I think she blends the line perfectly well here. And I mean, the story was written for her, right? Like, a lot of people, they have to kind of make their own story up. And, kind of find a narrative that really ties their game. Like, Charlie will be a very strategic force, and that'll be his game. That'll be his narrative. Kenzie's narrative was made for her. She was on one of the worst tribes in Survivor history. She was on a trash tribe, and she made it out of that. Really strong bonds. Like the story's made for you. And Kenzie, I think, recognized that and realized, okay, if I'm just kind, social, I'm in good graces with people, I think it's going to work out quite well for her. I think a decent amount of people will be shocked when Kenzie wins, though, because a lot of people still think that Charlie is the obvious front runner, and there's no way that he won't win. All the signs, especially such a great penultimate episode from Kenzie, make it a lock. I think this is game 100%.
And if it's not, then we are wrong.
If it's not, then Chi-Chi, we're wrong. LOL. Kenzie's a fitting winner. Fun, fashionable. People love her. She's kind. I'd love for her to win. Yeah, in a season so negative, with a lot of negative press, a lot of negativity just shown to us on the TV, Kenzie would be a great winner to, just kind of stand out a little bit. She is positive. I think a lot of people will appreciate that, especially with everything they've maybe been through,
Oh yeah.
I think it's hilarious that Venus, one of the more negative people from the season, will likely vote for Kenzie if she makes the end, who is one of the nicer people on this season. One of the more positive players on this season. And let's take it one more time with Jay here. Could turn into an Aubrey versus Michelle debacle. I could see why. I could see why a lot of people would think that. And I think it could definitely spark a little bit of a debate here. I think it's way more clear that Kenzie is the winner, and I think it's going to be a little because when thinking back to Ko Wrong, I think a lot of people thought that Michelle had no shot to win compared to Aubrey because Aubrey had the strategy, but she also had the story. She was completely fish out of water. She was just a wreck the first couple days, found her footing, lost allies along the way, but played really strongly. But Michelle still won because she made good allies. She did make good decisions. She won through challenges. I think that was a much more clear debate. I think when people look back on this in a week a couple weeks from now, a couple months from now, a couple years from now, I think if Kenzie does win over Charlie, it's going to be a lot more clear that Kenzie was always the one who had the better chance.
Yeah, I think part of the reason too that Michelle did not get a lot of positive reception when she won is because Michelle kind of had not an easy ride to the end, but she was safe the first 8 episodes. Yeah. She was a very under the radar player. And while Kenzie is as well, I think Kenzie being on the Yanu tribe automatically puts her into a lot of people's minds, especially now being the last Yanu remaining. And we just hear from Kenzie more. She's more visible on the screen than Michelle was in Ko Wrong because, Survivor, can't really on the radar female winners. I'm just saying.
That's true. That's so true.
And I feel like they're doing better with Kenzie now, assuming she's the winner because she is the winner.
Yeah, they're doing a phenomenal job, in my opinion, editing her, especially as someone who isn't really a flashy, dominant, Kim Spradlin-esque winner, more like a social, more underrated, doing a really solid job showing that. Last thing from Chris, first winner in history to have a finale air. First of all, congratulations, Kenzie. I don't know.
It's just too weird of a stat for there to be like easily accessible.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. All right, let's move on to Liz. Before we do Liz, though, should we take a break?
Yeah, we can take a break.
All right, pick a number 1 through 4.
I already said 2.
I
know that.
Welcome everyone to Expedition Online Season 6.
Hi everyone.
Hey Queen's Army.
We've got King George and Queen Sandra.
I'm starstruck right now.
Everybody looks ready. In 3, 2, 1, go.
These questions are hard.
Ooh, Kara gets the first one. Go.
I feel bad throwing out names, so I will gladly go if anyone has any ideas.
Chandra is voting for Amy.
She is.
What about Eli? What if we just blindside his ass?
For you and I, keeping our names out of conversation and then having these quick check-ins.
I feel so stressed. My palms are so sweaty.
Got another twist coming in today.
Holy shit.
Now you gotta switch into game mode. Use your emotions, use who you are.
Take every opportunity.
I promise you, I do not have the compass. Swear I don't have it.
Okay, you have a minute. We got about someone.
The fact that my name was even in your mouth.
You say something in my web of people, it's coming back to me.
Don't ever be too comfortable in the game.
Glory or death to the end.
But most importantly, play to win. And take out King George's faithful soldiers, boo.
Why do you have a guitar?
Why is there a guitar chord on screen?
You get the joke.
Yeah.
Did you just play B minor?
I just played B minor.
Well done. Quick point for Frank here to wrap up Kenzie. Kenzie's the winner. Badu had value after all by trying to highlight how much of a threat she was. Yeah, I think, vote him out, but take his advice. Take everyone's advice, regardless. Every perspective is key to have. And I think that people dismissing Badu's perspective was not the play. Anywho, yes, I have the B minor chord because she had a BM in this episode.
Shout out.
That's the joke. Bless the Lord, she's free. That's the key takeaway here. Yeah, I have Liz at 4. I think a losing finalist certainly in the cards here, but I think at the same time, it's a little bit less likely than Ben for me. Because I actually, like, I remember I think Maria said that Liz was a threat, and she actually wanted to get rid of Liz at a certain point this episode or last episode. And I mean, there you go. That's all you need to know. Ben's not being targeted. Liz is. So why would anyone put her in fire making? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's the problem though. I mean, that's the real problem. I think it's in a scenario where either Charlie or Kenzie is taken, and it's the other one versus Liz, and they just beat Liz. Has Liz got a vote against her at all? I don't know.
Nope.
No.
Here's the thing. Here's what's going to happen. Right? Final four.
No. Oh, no.
Final four. Ben, Kenzie, Charlie, Liz. Ben wins final immunity, takes Kenzie. Charlie beats Liz.
I actually think that's probably the most likely scenario.
Oh no. Will made a point. God bless America.
No, actually, Chris, I'm actually going to argue that's not crackpot. I actually think that's anti-crackpot.
That's like bad.
That's like just the most normal theory ever. And then Jay with the boot order. I think you're right, Jay. But continue, Will, please. Do you have any thoughts?
No more thoughts. I mean, Liz, she's kind of like the new Carson in the sense, don't freak out, in the sense that just her fire making is kind of now obvious. We keep seeing the fire in glasses. Last time we saw that was 44 with Carson. Look what happened. I think it would also go with this theme where Liz was very unprepared for Survivor, very out of her element, with her being allergic to everything. Liz not really looking for idols, not really taking a full grasp on the game. She had her breakout episode with the Tevin vote, and at this point, she's just there, just kind of fodder outside of her blow up for enemies.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to remember her very fondly for the multiple businesses, but for the Applebee's fiasco at the Final 8, I think a lot of people are going to remember her for that. And I mean, that's fair. I mean, that was definitely her most clear moment on the show. You got to respect Liz a little bit. I mean, I think that if people may talk her up as at least a little bit of a threat, she's done a good job. I mean, again, Frank says not possible that Joey votes for a millionaire. If she even is once talked about as some kind of a threat, there you go. Like she did exactly what she needed to. And I think she did the best that she could do with deciding to tell everybody that she was a millionaire at the beginning of the game, that she had multiple businesses. I think we would have seen a lot more very early on if her story was trying to convince people that she was no threat and that she could easily just be a number and work to the end. She's made some decent moves this season. She's been she blindsided Tevin. That was her clear idea. She decided to vote for Tiffany with Q, despite the fact that she hated Q. Voted Venus and voted Q this episode. Having to give more fire-making loser more of a story in the past few seasons. Yeah. Well, I mean, you have Heather.
I mean, that's kind of an out. I feel like 41 is just an outlier. Katora, honestly, she had one episode where she opened up, but she also got nothing the entire rest of the season, right? 43. I mean, Jesse, you can't beat Jesse.
Yeah.
And then 42.
Jonathan had decent as well.
Yeah, Jonathan. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think Liz definitely had a story this season. She had some clear remarks, and I think she had things people are going to remember her for. But it's not as present as somebody who was genuinely about to win the game, such as Jesse, such as Carson. So we have to keep that in mind. Exactly. We finally move to Maria, who I have Queen, the band, on as my image, because she's actually one of the better players of the new era, just a little too strong too early. Like, she's really, we thought she was a really solid player, but we didn't see the exact things there. And I'm trying to find the one thing, someone.
Oh God, Jack's unprepared. Jack's unprepared. Jack's
No.
unprepared.
Yes. Here's the question from Spilly Immunity. Do you feel the tide turned on Maria at the rock, papers, scissors decision? I think it was the tipping point. I don't think it was the complete turn of the tide. I think people were starting to see her as a little bit of a threat, but I think that decision completely tipped it over. I think it was like a bucket that was almost ready to pour out, and the rock, paper, scissors was the bucket.
Yeah, I think the Tiffany vote out was it was the turnaround, and then everything after that it fell apart.
Absolutely. Fun fact: was the doctor of physical therapy for a year and a half and learned hiking. Really, it's pretty cool. I like that.
Huh.
Maria again. Like, I think it was set in stone from pretty early on. Like, she's the middle of the road queen. Just absolute, just nothing burgers over and over and over again every episode. However, I think I wouldn't mind seeing her come back. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a take a lot of people might not agree with, but I would think, in my opinion, the people I want to see back are Q, her, and either Kenzie or Charlie. One of them.
Assuming Kenzie wins, I don't like to talk about winners returning because I feel like it's such a mixed bag because they either win and everyone's like, oh, another season of this player, or they flame out and everyone's like, oh, well, they suck. Of all the like mom archetypes we've seen in Survivor, Maria is up there because I feel like she wanted to play the game more. She did not want to embrace being the mom of the tribe. And I feel like she just played a more cutthroat game this go around. And I feel like she was the cutthroat person to Charlie, not the other way around. Because I feel like mom archetype, one person is, the mom's always, nurturing and loving. And then they always have the younger companion who's just cutthroat, right? Like Julie and Dee. I feel like it was kind of the opposite this season. And I thought that was a really cool shakeup. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You want to cut me off?
Hey, bruh. Hey, man.
Man.
I agree with you. I think Maria is definitely the more cutthroat version. It's really cool to see 2 seasons in a row having the mom be kind of the biggest threat. Julie was the biggest threat in 45 coming into the end game. Maria's the biggest threat in the end game for 46. The moms are doing it. Shout out to moms out there. I know Mother's Day was Sunday, so shout out all the moms. Well done for raising such great children.
Mother's Day is my least favorite holiday, by the way, because work was slammed. Let me tell you.
Not because you don't like your mother.
Oh yeah, no. Shout out to Amanda West.
Was she a true? Shout out Beth. Was she a true Denise to Charlie's Malcolm? Yeah, I don't know.
Malcolm to Charlie's Denise.
I would actually, I'd say it's the opposite. I think, I think if we speak purely, like, if it's purely based on the duo as it was, is like the gender configuration. I mean, yes, but completely otherwise, like Malcolm to Denise. Like, she was more cutthroat, making big moves, winning challenges. But Charlie's won too, and was a key piece in beating a hunter to make sure he went home. But Maria's quite cutthroat. And I think it's really, really cool to see, just again, another dominant mom. Again, I'll say it again, 45 via Julie, and while she got eliminated at 5th, which is actually where we think Maria gets eliminated here, there's no denying that I think Maria is at par with Julie, or better than Julie.
I think Maria, she always stands up to me in her confessionals, as boring as they are, because it's always like nothing burgers. I do think she's very well articulate, right? I feel like the way she words things, it's not the most it's not the best for television, but I think she's very smart and she knows what she's talking about. I do think she overplayed. I do think she's losing steam, and I don't really think that's indicative of her ability to play the game. I just think she just ran out of steam too quickly, played a little too hard by voting out Tiffany, and then she's getting flack for rock paper scissors. Honestly, that was pretty bad, but all the smart players we love made bad choices once or twice. So
absolutely. And lastly, from Jay here for Maria, so underrated. Yeah, really unfortunate. Again, I think it's just making it more clear that Charlie makes it farther than Maria. But I personally think Maria was awesome, and I would love to see her back on Survivor 50, whatever capacity that season is. So good job. Goodbye. The final tier list for Survivor 46. Here we go. Kenzie is a triple buy. It's not because of the amazing episode. I mean, she did have a great episode, but it's the sense that it's a lock now. Time to buy the stock.
Yeah.
Kenzie's the winner. Charlie with the triple sell. Again, not a horrendous episode. Just far less of a contender than Kenzie. So it's a triple sell. And then Ben, Liz, and Maria, we've had them at slashes. We'll keep them at slashes. We got it right. I'm gonna call it, we got it right. Like, no matter what, if Charlie does end up winning, we kind of got it wrong. But we still have Charlie as a contender, so we got it right.
Oh yeah.
We cooked.
We did more than cook, bro. We made a beef Wellington. Actually, I've been watching Hell's Kitchen as of late, the new season. And, I forget not parallels, but like the way it's edited, the structure is kind of similar to Survivor, with there being a reward challenge, elimination. Honestly, if we wanted to go off of Survivor now and do Hell's Kitchen stock watch,
that would be very fun to see. Also, I know Flint. We talked about Flint Masters before.
I've been watching his videos.
Flint Masters, this is an open invitation. If you want to come with the stocks, we'd love to have you.
Yes.
Amy, being a cutthroat mom has got a lot of grief on social media, and I hate that. Yeah, I agree, 100%. Again, social media, just stop. Just shut up. If you're on social media and you're bashing contestants, just shut up.
Yeah, if you want to get through Maria, you have to get through me. Bully me.
Yeah, bully me too. Like, critique, like a fair critique is fine. The bullying is not. Like, if you want to critique Maria as being like maybe too big of a threat too early, I get it. Do what you got to do. If you want to bully her and say she's a horrible mother, what are you doing? Stop.
Okay.
Why do we get to say that every time?
It is kind of unfair for Maria to try to vote out her son and Charlie. I will say it.
Yes.
No. DBAA, don't be an asshole.
Wow.
Get back to Jesse Pinkman.
I love it.
Yeah.
Edgic. It's a little hard to see, but here we go. Highest visibility, Charlie Maria with a 4. Lowest Ben with 2. Best rated, Kenzie with CPP. And worst, Q with over the top negative. Key takeaways. Kenzie solidified. Done. Wish we had more of this Maria earlier. I really wish we had like this Maria's cool. I wish we had more of this Maria in the Edgic earlier in the season. And Q ends his literally insane run of 5 out of the last 6 episodes were over the top negative. That's pretty wild.
That's
insane.
The penultimate episode is always the saddest time for Stock Watch, because I feel like outside of the crackpots, there's not really a lot we can talk about, because it's like, oh, this person is the winner. We do our best with talking about like Charlie. That's why I really wish Q was still in the game, because I feel like we would have been able to, talk about like Q being a crackpot winner. But alas.
Wasn't meant to be. That is the final. Oh, no, not the final. One of the last Edgic. The second to last. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's been an hour. We got through a lot today.
We did.
2 episodes. Thoughts on the season. We went absolutely crazy. Will, every episode is Chris, stop it. You're too kind.
You're making me cry.
You're making me blush, Chris. Thank you. Will.
Yo.
This has been the stocks.
This has been the stocks. Yeah.
You didn't say calm down.
I know. I'm excited. for
He's
the finale.
excited. He's
Oh,
excited.
46.
Do you have anything else to say?
No. But if you come to Outback Steakhouse in Glen Burnie starting next week, you can ask for Will West and I can serve you now. Great promotion.
There you go. Also, Will's Hell's Kitchen.
I treat it like it.
Yeah,
I start yelling at people.
Oh gosh. Don't do that.
All right.
We thank you all for your time watching episode 12 and 11 of Survivor Stock Watch. We truly thank you all for being participatory in the chat. Shout out to Jay, Chris, Frank, Spill the Immunity, Amy, Benell. I think that was everybody. I think that was. We get some new people in the chat today. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for all the vets coming out. My daughter's so Carolyn. That's kind of exciting.
That's great.
That's cool. That's cool. Yes, truly, we thank you all for coming out and watching the last episode. Our last episode of Survivor Stock Watch this season is going to be next Friday. I will be in a different location. Who's surprised? We thank you all for your time, and we will see you all next